always want you to counsel with them, always want you to talk to them, always want to bring their problem to you. But when you point them to the head, they keep rejecting the head. They're sitting in the body and they keep asking more water and more nutrients and more this, more that, but they never produce anything. There's some conviction in the house. That's why it's quiet right now. We'll move past that right now. And so what happens is tear suck the nutrients out of the wheat. And the distinction between the wheat and the tear is productivity. Brother comes to me because he is struggling in his marriage. He's having real challenging time in his marriage. Matter of fact, he and his wife come to me. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to counsel with the two of them, and it is very challenging. I mean, it is extremely challenging. It's hard to even get the two of them to talk to each other. It got so bad, in fact, that when one walked out, I had to talk to one and then go outside and talk to the other, and talk to one and go back and talk to the other. And finally, the wife got to the point where she was so frustrated, she threw her hands up and walked off and got in her car and left. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this brother as his pastor. And I begin to pour water on him. And I begin to tell him, you can't be concerned about what she's doing, because God planted you here and gave you a responsibility to make sure you're doing everything you're supposed to do. And you're in a season now, if you're going to save your marriage, you're going to have to enter into self-denial. You're going to have to deny your feelings, deny your emotions, and you're going to have to do what a husband is supposed to do. You're going to have to cover her even though she don't want to be covered. You're going to have to love her even though you don't want to be loved. This ain't even about you. This is about the legacy that's coming behind you too. You can't walk away from it. You got to give it everything that's in you. And he's sitting there and he's frustrated and he feels like he doesn't want to hear this, but he understands if he's going to produce anything for God, he's got to listen to his head. And the head, you hear what I'm saying, is telling him that even though you feel like she is wrong, it ain't about her. God is trying to make you right. And so right now, don't focus on her. You get right. You get your head right. Wake up in the morning and you tell her you love her. If she don't say nothing to you, you call her and check up on her, because you're her. You hear what I'm saying? You're her husband. Do your job, wheat. Do your job. This ain't no time to cry. I ain't going to give you a pass. No, you can't walk away and get a divorce. Stand there, stay planted, and do your. Can I teach in here? Yesterday, after the men's Bible study, men's prayer breakfast, he pulled me aside and he had a glow on him. And he said, Pastor, your words saved my marriage. He said, I feel like we're in a honeymoon again, man. I was focused on her when God was trying to deal with me. Your words saved my marriage. Somebody here is a witness and knows what I'm talking about. See, that's what happens when wheat gets water and it doesn't waste the water. When wheat hears the water of the word gets on the inside and starts working on the wheat. And even though the wheat may want to do something else, the word won't let it do anything but produce. So here is a brother who has us to see that our water was not wasted. He said, the water you poured on me has produced a harvest. I'm living in the house with a different woman because she's living in the house with a different man. I thought I had to change the woman, but God changed the man, and the man changed the woman. That's what happens when wheat does what it's supposed to do. it produces. But there's a problem when you got tear that you keep pouring water on it, keep giving it word, keep giving it instruction, and it never changes and never receives the head. I'm going to teach because y'all, some of y'all not there yet, but you're going to get there. Can I help you with something? Can I help you with something? You have to be very careful about what's in proximity to you. Because some things that have been planted around you are assigned to you. You think you're assigned to it, but it's assigned to you. And you have to be careful about what's in proximity to you, what's close to you. I'm going to have some questions for you before it's over, because some things that look like wheat that's planted to you is really tear. Planted close to you is really tear that the enemy has dropped close to you, and it's on assignment. And what happens with the tear is that the tear doesn't just grow up, but under the surface it grows out. Because what happens is that even though the tear is growing up and looking like the wheat stalk, its roots under the ground are overlapping all the tear that's close to it, and so all the wheat. So the tear under the surface is creating an interconnection to all of the wheat that's around it. I feel like preaching. I'm going to put your head. That's why God says be careful when you try to pull the tear up, because it ain't just next to stuff, but it's interconnected under the ground. And if you try to snatch out a tear, you might pull up some good, because the roots are under the... I want to take a minute and talk about people who don't just grow up, but grow toward. Got to teach. It's too quiet in here, but that's okay. You ever see some people in the church, Dan, that they're growing in Christ, and you can see sincerity in them. They're sincere. They're receiving the word, and they're trying to develop and grow. But the problem is they're hooked up with somebody who only looks like they're trying to grow. This person's really trying to grow. But the person they're hooked up with is only trying to look like they're trying to grow. And though you're watering both of them, you can see that fruit's going to come out of this one, but it doesn't appear that too much is trying to come out of this one. This one's only trying to look like. I feel like I need to preach in here. But the problem is they're not only growing up, they're growing toward. I feel like I need to teach. Because they are located in proximity to each other, the tare's roots are starting to overlap the wheat's. And what the wheat would not do in his own life, he will accept in the tares. I feel like I need to preach in here. I feel like I need to preach in here. So you see some people who would not commit to sin themselves, but they're close to somebody who will commit to sin, so they endorse the sin because of who they're close to. In your own life, you know it doesn't work for you, but you accept it because it's in the life of the person you're close to. I feel like I need to preach in here. Oh, I would not commit adultery. I would not be a homosexual. I would not go to a club. But I got somebody in my life that I like, who goes to church with me, who really didn't wheat their tear. And what happens is they got the stuff in their life. And for me to reject the sin is to reject them in the sin. And because we're too close to each other, I resist rejecting the sin because I don't want to throw the tear away.